Welcome back to Law of Attraction Changed My Life. I'm your host, Francesca Amber, and I'm very excited because my guest today is somebody who recently anonymously sent me flowers. I thought it might have been a Tinder date. It wasn't. It wasn't. She is a best-selling author. She's a life coach. She's already changed my life. It's Susie Moore. Welcome.
Francesca, what a joy. There is no place I'd rather be than with you right now. So thank you for having me.
Where actually are you? Because we're not together. Where are we?
I'm in Miami, Florida, where it's very, very hot.
Oh, nice. What part?
Brickell, if you know Miami.
No, I've been to Fort Lauderdale. That's about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, also nice. That's about like an hour away. So yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it was that big. I went to a gay strip club there called Cabaret. Have you ever
Oh,
been there?
I'm sure it's a lot of fun, but not yet.
It's very fun. I had a great time.
I bet.
Anyway, the reason you are here is because you are our book club author for August. And I'm so happy about it. We just started chatting and I was like, stop. We need to press record on this because I was saying about how your book was recommended to me by one of my listeners. And it's called Let It Be Easy, Simple Ways to Stop Stressing and Start Living. And I randomly opened it to a page.
Mhm.
And what I read on that page, I was like, that's changed my fucking life. And it was all about anticipatory stress. So when
Yes.
you anticipate something like Christmas or a holiday, we all have that feeling, right, of where the anticipation of it is way better than the actual experience. Well, the same happens when you're stressed about something. And when it comes to actually doing the stressful thing, it's never as bad. So you've basically tortured yourself in your mind 10 times worse than you needed to. And when
For
I heard
nothing.
that,
For
I was
nothing.
like, wow. Whenever I'm in a very stressful situation, which is often in the
Yeah.
future, I will remember that. And it's truly changed it. So thank you, because this
Aw.
book is full of wisdom. Full
Aw.
of wisdom. I wanted to ask you,
Mhm.
why do you think we create so much stress in our lives? Because it is
Oh.
created by us. Why? Why do we do it? And how do we do it?
Well, if we look at how the brain works, our number one job, your brain's number one job is to keep you alive. Actually, physically speaking, like we still have these primitive parts of our brains. We forget this. We forget how our programming, I mean, it's what 200,000 years old. Human beings still have tailbones. Think about that, right? The evolution that we've had. But what's interesting is the primitive fear brain, unless we are conscious, which it's very easy to go through life not being conscious, to be kind of asleep, we'll think that everything's a threat. We'll think that not being invited to that event, or maybe someone else getting a promotion, or someone whispering over there, is that about us? We deem these as real physical threats in our brain, thinking, I won't survive if I'm not included. I won't survive if I'm not chosen. I won't survive if I'm not perfect, even in some ways. And so I think that even just being aware of that, knowing that our brain is doing its job, but we are bigger than our brains. We're bigger than that primitive part of us, which can come on in, use some logic, soothe ourselves, come back to reality, and really look at the reality in front of us for what it is.
I love that. Do you know, we recently just read in the book club about, and I've never heard it explained this way before, but how our subconscious brain is still that very primitive brain you're talking about. You know, we still think we're
Mhm.
living in a tribe, and if we get
Mhm.
cast out, we're going to die, because that is what would have
Mhm.
happened. But our conscious brain has now evolved so quickly. I mean, if you think about it, I remember in my lifetime when the internet was born. Like I remember,
Yes.
not born, but I remember it coming to like our school. And I remember thinking that I could just email Matthew@america.com and that would get to my cousin in America. Like that is literally how I thought the internet worked. And that's just in my short lifetime. So the way it was explained was like, we now can make TikTok videos and build houses and go to the moon,
Mhm.
apparently. But our subconscious brain is still like almost reptilian. And so these other animals, like horses, aren't having these fucking issues. Dogs
No.
aren't having these issues because they haven't evolved to create TikTok videos and build a computer. But we are and no one had ever explained it to me like that before. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, that's why we're all so fucked. And once you understand it, and it is, I feel like, isn't it just constantly reminding yourself? Because once you read this book or once you learn these things, it's not like, oh, great, I'm fixed. You have to constantly remind
Oh, yeah.
yourself all the
Mhm.
time.
Yes, which is interesting because I think that people hope that, one day I'll learn something and that's it. Or, in
Mm.
the book, I speak about how success is really boring. Like when you think about success in any area, we celebrate it publicly, right? Someone's got a gold medal, or they look like this perfect mom with these like really happy, cute kids, or they, they just published a best-selling book, whatever it is. We see that part of it, but we don't see what goes on behind the scenes, right? We don't see the early mornings, the repetition, the boring nature of what goes into any success, 99% of which happens in private. And then we end up thinking, wow, everyone just has it. It's so simple for them. They're all just, their lives are so straightforward. But the reality just isn't that. If anyone wants to create anything meaningful or have a beautiful family like you have with your three girls, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, right? Boring,
You're telling me. You're telling
repetitive.
me, Jesus Christ. A lot of boring shit goes on behind the scenes.
To
Yes.
create a beautiful family. Yeah. And then, one day your girls are older, you're like, wow. But you look back and you realize how much went into our lives. And if we are not careful, we can miss it, right? We can miss the beauty of our day to day. We can be so consumed with the stress, thinking, it's a chicken burning. What about my visa bill? Oh my gosh, it's going to rain. That negative comment, we can be so consumed. I think it's really being in a sleepy state versus seeing the actual majesty of our lives. Right? What do you think
Yeah.
about it? I mean, to be alive now, to be a human being that can never be replicated, no matter who the billionaire is, who the tech bro is, like no one could replicate you. I think we miss so much when we're not conscious and we allow just our stress to override us, that primitive brain to rule. I think that that's the opposite way of regret proofing your life.
Yes, I feel like when you do self development and when you become more self aware,
Mm-hmm.
you get to have more moments that are truly like that, where you're just like, this is fucking amazing. Like, look at that sky. That sky
Mm-hmm.
is amazing, or this moment is amazing. And there
Yeah.
was a chapter in the book, I'm trying to think which one it was now. Oh, it was about, it actually wasn't directly about this, but it was about telling people how you truly feel about them, and
Yeah.
how so many of us try and play it cool or just be a little bit standoffish. And we do it with prospective partners, with people we're introduced to, friends of friends, especially if those friends are really successful or you maybe listen to a podcast or whatever. And
Yeah.
people do it all the time. I recently got invited to the BAFTAs, and I've
Ooh,
never
yeah.
seen it more prevalent than there, with people acting absolutely fucking aloof. And it was horrible. I really, really hated it. And so that chapter for me, exclaiming out loud to your friends how much you love them and how much you're enjoying spending time with them. I have two friends that do this, and I think it's no coincidence that they're two of the closest people to me. They will regularly, we'll just be sitting there having a normal conversation. They'll go, fucking hell, I love this. I'm just sat here with you. This drink
Ah.
is perfect. You're like one of my best friends in the world. I'm just having the time of my life. And I, as a sometimes socially awkward or anxious person, I think we all get like that, don't we? Like, does this
Yeah.
person want to be here? Are we, is
Yeah.
this, is this right?
Yeah.
It's so nice to have that reassurance, but you can also take it a step further. You don't have to say it to a person. You can just say it about your life. Like, this is
Mhm.
lovely. Look at
Mhm.
this. We're having a I mean, look at this right now. You
I
and I are
know.
spending what is this? Is it Thursday? I don't even know what day it is.
Thursday
This
together. Yes,
this
hanging,
is like a
talking.
working day.
I
Neither
know.
of us are working down a mine. We
Mm-mm.
are like just working from our own places across the fucking world, having a conversation across the world. Who knew that this was possible? What a dream.
Oh my gosh, Francesca, I can't tell you how much I completely agree with this. And I think, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we celebrate? I think that the ultimate superpower that we can harness, and you know all about this, the ultimate superpower we can harness is creating our life from the inside.
Mm.
Right. So we know that there's life, there are taxes, there are delayed I mean, there are many things outside of us. But if you can control your inner, because wherever you are, if you're in Paris and you're miserable, you're miserable. If you're in Hawaii and you're miserable, and sometimes we've been there, right? We're on vacation and we fight with our partner and we're like, I'm
Oh
spending all
yeah.
this money. Like, what that? I think that no matter where, no matter the setting, if you can create your own emotional state, which we are all able to do, we're the only animals, right, that can do this, then everything unfolds for you, right? It just
So
take yeah. When it comes to letting it be easy, it's the opposite of just being reactive to everything, which is how most people live. And then we can almost feel a bit strange if we're happy in an unhappy situation, or if we're around stressed people or people who just hate their lives or hate their jobs. Sometimes I almost feel like a bit of an alien, Francesca, because I don't feel that way. I know
yeah.
that wherever I am, what's actually happening is within me, no matter no matter how nice or maybe the opposite of nice I am. Me creating my own emotional state is the ultimate superpower, deciding how I feel. And then that determines the outcome wherever from there is next. Haven't you found that too?
100%. I think be able to create your own inner world and exactly how
Hmm.
you respond to things rather than just react. I get so
Hmm.
many people ask all the time, like, can you manifest for other people or can you manifest things that are like out of your control? And in my mind, there is nothing really out of your control because something can happen and 10 of us witness it, but we're all going to have different responses to it. And how
Hmm.
we respond to that is going to affect our whole life and affect
Hmm.
our inner world, which in a way is more important, really. And
Hmm.
so, in a way, nothing can really harm you, she says. With trepidation. Don't test me, universe. I ain't ready for that shit. I've had a lot of tests in the last few years. I'm not ready for more. But 100%, how you can respond to things can
Mhm.
absolutely. So, this creating your world from the inside out, this is something that
Mhm.
actually at the beginning of the year, I was like, a sentence that kept coming up for me was like, I want my life to feel as good as it looks. And I feel like
Mm.
people, and this is social media, like fucking
Mhm.
social media, we all post our highlight reel. And from the outside, yes, what a fucking metamorphosis. This started in the pandemic. I was pregnant, alone, had twins, lost my business, had no income. I was fucked, let's be honest.
Mhm.
And in 3 short years, I've completely turned that around. I've now got
Yeah.
this podcast, UK's number 1 podcast for self-development. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Making like bank, bro. I'm making bank. I'm
Yes.
making more money than I've ever made in my fucking life. Like,
Yes.
bought my dream house, living
Oh.
my best life. But there
Oh.
are still times where I'm like, I want it to feel as good as it looks. And so in January, when I
Mhm.
did my goal setting for the year, that was my goal. I think for the purposes of this podcast, I was very keen to show people that you can go from the dumps to literally
Mhm.
create what you want. And I was kind of
Mhm.
looking for that outward projection of success, which is
Mhm.
amazing.
Yes.
Thankful for
Yes, it
that.
is. Mhm.
Thankful for this lovely office I'm sitting in. But then I was like, I need to actually take it back and work more on the inside of how everything feels to
Mm.
me. So,
Mm.
what would your top tips be for people that maybe, despite what the outside looks like, they want to just feel better in their life and stop feeling all the
Mm.
time? What do we do?
I think it's a couple of things. The first is whatever it is you're believing about your life, because you can have a good life, right? You could be a billionaire, but there's actually a real story about a German billionaire who had a rival, a fellow billionaire, and he made a bad investment, lost money, so he became like the second or third richest, not the first richest man in Germany, and he killed himself. Right? So this highlights
Perspective.
but think about it, right? You can have whatever you have in your life. It can seem like a lot based on what people say, or not so much based on what people say, but that is of zero consequence when it comes to
Mm,
how you feel about it. So a billionaire considers himself a loser, right? Totally broke and commits suicide. Someone else who has very little, maybe in terms of the material, will be wildly joyful in a situation because they're looking at nature, connecting with people, doing things that bring them pleasure, bring them joy. So whenever I feel kind of disconnected from my situation, or I think, why aren't I really enjoying this? Like, I'm healthy, like I've got all these blessings. I think, what am I believing about? Maybe I think I'm not quite worthy of this, or this might run out soon, or I'm waiting for the bad news to hit. Sometimes we have this anticipation too of things to come that aren't what we're going to want. And so what are we believing about ourselves and our situation in that moment? I always think that I'm thinking something off if I'm feeling bad. There's just a thought that needs an upgrade or maybe a loving correction. And then
yeah.
secondly, it's self-concept. So sometimes I think we're just hard on ourselves. We think, oh yeah, I'm making bank and I've got a great house, but I don't like how I look, or I don't like the fact that my friend let me down 2 years ago. Oh, you know what else? My ex-husband, I have one too. Like my ex-husband is like, oh well, that thing that he said. Let me bring that up to my friends again. like where is your attention? Like what are you believing? Because your beliefs will always direct the route of your attention. And if your
Mm.
attention is on what's wanted and what's pure and what's good and what's full of promise and what's just real, then you actually can't feel bad. You can't feel bad for long. So attention, 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 where is it? And I think that some of us, we don't realize how powerful our attention and our focus is. And we don't realize we're one thought away. Really, I
Yeah.
mean, haven't you ever had that experience, Fran, when you're with a friend and just say you're down in the dumps about something? Maybe something, someone lost a job, something unwanted happened, and then someone makes a joke, or someone introduces a funny memory, or maybe someone else even enters the conversation and they're vibing differently because they haven't been in this low vibe complaining energy. Everything shifts. And
Yeah.
it's
In an
not
instant.
six in an instant. And it's not 6 years of therapy. It's not, oh, I've got to be so heavy. It's like, how about we make? I mean, this is why laughter is God's medicine. Like, can we just like what can be funny? Like, so much can be funny, even
Yeah.
in dark ways. You know, I joke. My dad died when I was 19, and I always joke because he would love this. I'd say, oh well, don't have to spend money on a Father's Day gift.
Savage.
But there can even be humor in it. Look, this is reality we live in. We lose people we love. How are we even going to feel about these things? We have so much control that I think we just abdicate to other people, what's going on in the world, and then looking out instead of kind of feeling into what
Mm.
it is we want to feel.
100%. I feel like as well, when people first discover that they can manifest, they get so excited and they instantly think, oh, I'm going to manifest like my dream car, or I'm going to manifest my dream house, or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. Like, we've all done that. But I think you do get down that journey where you're like, actually, the things I want to manifest are like inner peace and happiness and strong friendships and deep
Yeah.
connection and all these kind of things. And I think that that is a great lens to look at everything. Like, for me, whenever I manifest anything, even if it is something physical,
Mm-hmm.
I will ask, why do I actually want this? So
Mm.
if it is to like flex on your neighbors and be like, oh, look at my new Range Rover, then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I know that when I get that, it's not going to make me happy. I'm going to have a really empty feeling. But I don't think that means that you can't manifest flashy things and you
Mm-hmm.
can't, when I got this house, I was like, I want it because I want my daughters to all have space to grow up, and I want them all to have their own rooms, and I want to have this, an open plan living space for us to host parties for family and friends and stuff. I think when you always bring it back to, how is this manifestation, even if it is a physical thing like a swimming pool or a house or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, how is it going to make me feel on the inside and affect my life on a daily basis? Then you can't go wrong as long as it's pure, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes. And isn't that the thing? I mean, isn't the reason we want anything, right? Maybe you're like, oh, I want a boat, right? Or I want like a super hot relationship, or I want a new butt, like whatever it is that you want. I mean, why? Yet, like you say, what is it? What is the feeling, right? What in the having of it, in the receiving of it, there's often just a feeling of freedom. Right. I always think that that's why we just want money. Like our culture is so
Oh yeah.
obsessed with money. It's freedom, it's freedom, it's freedom. And we don't feel free a lot of the time. But
Mm.
when you think about it, we have such free will, right? Choosing where our attention is, choosing how we feel about family members who haven't done the right thing by us, feeling compassion, feeling even a gentleness or patience sometimes. Like, these are always available. And I think that, because we're not really taught this, as you know, and because people will celebrate so much of the external things. If you look at, the hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, what a lot of people don't know, it's like it's food, shelter, all the basics, and then you reach the top of the pyramid when you self-actualize, right? Knowing that you live independently, you have this autonomy within your own mind and being. But what a lot of people don't know about that is, before he died, Maslow created an even higher level on the hierarchy,
What
which
is
was
it?
self transcendence,
Okay.
which is actually even going beyond you, not making your life about you. Right. So when we're like, I want a Range Rover, I want this, yeah, cool. Like, material things are fantastic. I love them too. But really what we crave is giving to others, having lives of service. Like, think about your podcast, all these people you touch. Like, Francesca, the book club, oh my God, you sell out books. Like, there isn't
Isn't that
what
wild? Your
it's
book
so
sold out worldwide on Amazon, and that was before it had even been announced. That's never happened
wild.
before.
Look
I
at
hadn't
you.
even announced the winner, and it was gone. You can't get this shit
Wow.
for gold dust. Like, yeah. Isn't that crazy?
But think about it, you in this short period of time, you created this and you're giving so much. I see the comments, right? I'm tagging a lot of things. I see what you're giving. And tell me, does anything give you more joy, apart from, of course, being a mother, than giving? Like, than actually being of service?
Do you know what? People coming up to me and saying, your podcast, I feel like I'm going to cry. Like, your podcast has changed my life. I would say that's actually sometimes better than a hug from my child. Sometimes it's better. Sometimes when they're being little bastards, like it's honestly the best thing ever. And you're right, knowing that you can share this because do you know what? For years and years and years, I don't know if you're the same, but like my friends and family didn't give a shit about self development. They didn't give a shit about
Mm,
manifesting. They didn't care about law of attraction. I would try and tell them about it, and they'd be like, please stop. Please, please stop. So, my only outlet was I used to go to like clubs and then I'd go out to the smoking area at like 5 in the morning and I'd find some random person. I'd be like, you know what you want to do? You know what you want to do? You want to manifest. I'm going to teach you about the law of attraction. And it's like that was my only outlet for it. But now to have people that genuinely want to learn about it and the best thing is it's all free, really. Like I truly don't believe you don't need to go and do a £10,000 course. You don't need to do all like you can create it for yourself. And yeah, no,
mhm.
you're right. It's amazing. There's nothing better. Do you think there's anything better than that?
Nothing. And
No.
this is when we lose ourselves, our ego disappears, right? And it's interesting because yes, there are blessings that come with being of value because money is created by value and you offer a lot of value, Fran, like you just do. And so much of what you do is free for anybody. But I think that for you, no matter what, like even if someone sent you a Tiffany's gift or you it doesn't compare to the feeling of when someone's like, you made me feel believe in myself. I don't feel
Yeah.
helpless anymore. Like I said, I'm tagged. I see a lot of the things now, which I'm very thrilled with being in your world. But there is nothing better, right? And so when we even think about what we want is actually really beautiful. Like it's to give,
Mm.
it's to share. And this is, I think, oh my gosh, isn't this like the most gorgeous reality in the world that like only love is real in the end?
Oh,
And
isn't that a book? Only Love is Real. Is that a book? I feel like.
I think it's a line from the book A Course in Miracles, which is
Right.
predicated on the fact that there's only love and fear, but I believe it. And I think if I'm in a fear state, if I'm feeling anxious, if I'm feeling judgmental, right, if I'm feeling competitive, I'm like, okay, what am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? It's actually a great question
Yeah.
to ask anybody experiencing any negative emotion. But the real you, your natural state is joy, and you want to be of service and you want to give to others. That's the real us. And I think when we peel away a lot of the nonsense, right, that separates us, that brings us stress, we can't even see it. Like I keep referring to this sleep state, but I think we miss the magic, and then we realize it kind of late. We can realize it kind of later in life.
Yeah. And I feel like just like you were saying there, asking yourself, am I looking at things through a lens of fear or
Hmm.
love?
Hmm.
What I love about that is it's so simple. It is so, so simple to apply that to any situation in your life and
Hmm.
suddenly realize, oh, there actually isn't a problem at all. It's simply my mindset. The one I always say to people, just because I think it's quite relatable, is like, if you share children with someone and their dad is like, right, I want to have them for their birthday this year, I'm going to take them away on holiday. Instantly, as a mum, I think it's quite natural. You can be like, why do you want to take them away from me? Why would you want to take them to a different country? You might let them drown. You're trying to weaken our bond. You're trying to destroy me. You're trying to upset me. And as soon as you go, hang on a second, let's just for a second, even if he is a dick, let's just look at it through the lens of love. What is actually being said here? Someone who loves your child wants to spend time with them, wants to take them and show them a different part of the world, wants to do things with them, wants to give you a break. I mean, I know they don't actually want to give you a break, but that's what you're getting. You're going to get a break.
Yeah.
Like, actually, how amazing. Even if you're like in a job that you hate and you think, why is my boss always on at me and looking over my shoulder and telling me to get off Facebook? Could it potentially be because they are a business owner and they see potential in
Mm.
you and they think, I wish she'd just get off Facebook and stop, slacking. Imagine what her potential could be if she actually like applied herself to this job. She could go on and create her own business. So it
Mhm.
literally applies to anything that you could then look
Mhm.
at it through that lens of love. And it literally transforms before your eyes, doesn't it? It
And it's
transforms.
and it's so far. Yes. And so in A Course in Miracles, it says that everything that we do is either a call for love or a demonstration of love. So
Okay.
so think about that for a second. Everything you doing your podcast, that is a demonstration of love. Right,
Okay.
that because you're showing up for free, you're creating all this content, you're helping people, right? That's loving, right? Look at someone like Taylor Swift. The reason she's so successful is you can tell she's coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
She's not coming from I'm desperate, I better be famous, if you don't love me, like uh, she's like I can't stop creating, I feel so fulfilled, and you just see her gratitude with her crowds. But that is such a demonstration of love. That's how her pouring into the people and using her talent, like, and then we see the opposite, right? A call for love, someone who's criticizing that person, right? Even someone, they can even take the same motions. They can take a microphone and you can, but you can feel it, right? Our spirit can feel it. Are you showing up to be generous, or are you showing up because you want to have a hit podcast? So you can tell the high school girls that
Right.
so
Yeah.
whatever we're doing, we feel it. And it's so palpable in the body. And I think that we sense it really well with others. Even if a child is like, I hate you, that's just a call for love, right?
Yeah.
It's not a demonstration of love because that would be like a hug or even nothing, just quiet presence. But even when someone says like spit something, I'm like, okay, this person's not okay.
So
Like
what do we do? What do we do when we see people give like calling for love? Is it just recognizing, oh, actually they're not a dick. They just want
Mhm.
love. Is that it? It's just recognizing that?
And like you said, through this lens, this shift in lens, it melts your anger. It can melt how you feel in a situation.
Yes.
And a miracle by definition is a shift in perception from fear to love, which can happen in any second. So say someone's even just rude to you at the airport or whatever, pushing, my instinct would be like, what a dick, right? Like, oh, or I'll show him, or I'm going to push, but really, who knows? Maybe his wife just died. Maybe maybe he's about to lose his job, and he's so. How can I, in that moment, just go benefit of the doubt? How okay? There's a call for love going on. I'm just gonna like let this be. I don't know what's going on, right? We never know what's going on, even with the people who present really well and seem really chirpy and like they've got it together. We just don't know. So I think that if we almost assume that there's some struggle in someone's life for everybody, and we take any negative actions or comments or feedback as a call for love, then I mean, I tend to have really no emotions around it. No resentment, no fear, no, oh, I'm going to set this person straight. I can just be in this place of peace. And for me, that's total ease.
Is this where you were saying earlier you feel a little bit sometimes like an alien? Because I sometimes feel like I've had a lobotomy because, like, there are some people in my life that try. They
Mm-hmm.
try to
Mm-hmm.
like come for me and to
Mm-hmm.
destroy my life, genuinely. And my sister gets so angry because she's like, "How can you forget all the bad things this person's done?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just forget about it." And she's like,
Oh,
remember when they did this? Remember when they said that?" And I'm like, oh yeah, but you do almost feel like ambivalent about it. Like they must be so going through something so hard in their life. I don't feel
mhm.
angry about it. I don't feel mad.
And isn't that, but this is where your peace, your steadiness, your knowing allows you to have control over your emotionals, right? So your sister's loving you, right? She's saying, oh, remember this. And it's a protective feeling, but your lack of, it's like, you're not in it. If someone's coming for you, that's got nothing to do with you, Fran. Like
Yeah,
someone could park outside your house right now and just strip naked and start screaming that also would have nothing to do with you.
yeah,
It's not, and I think that we take a lot of responsibility for other people when
yeah,
we don't have to. Also, a lot of stress, but your indifference to it means it has absolutely no impact on your vibration, right? It means nothing to your life,
love that
and
for
you,
me. It's
yeah,
very
and you're
peaceful over here.
yes, and think about it. Happiness is such a short memory. It's like I don't want to remember that time I was wronged, and we know those
Yeah,
people who can talk about that still. for 3 hours with complete passion. They'll talk about how they were wronged, right? Or the betrayal or the enemy. And I think, is that how I hey, live your life, but that's not. I'm not going to feel that way. You almost can't like permeate I can't. It can't happen. And so when I see even people, even when I had my corporate job, people were so stressed out all the time, like management changes, this, that. I was like, who cares? Like, hey, we don't even know anything yet. Our day to day, what's the problem? We're still getting our salaries. Like, so yes, when we realize that things can or cannot affect us and we practice it even bit by bit, like, how did you get to your place of not caring?
Um, just a long road of self-development, really. Just
Right?
very
Yeah.
small lessons that I've learned from different people, different books. Yeah, that lens
Hmm.
of love one really did help me.
Hmm.
Um, it truly did. And I think realizing that so much of the issue is actually in your own head. That's like, I feel like a big one too.
Yes, yes. And when you realize too that, no, like you said, no one sees the same things. 10 people in a situation, like, just say you go and speak in front of 1,000 people today, you'll have 1,000 different opinions. Right.
Yeah.
Someone will go, wow, she's amazing. Someone else will go, that was so boring. Right.
Yeah.
Same with a restaurant, same with the movies, whatever it is. So, why would we ever think or be almost insane enough to think that it's our job to control any of that,
Yeah.
or to be in charge of other people's opinions of us?
Do you know what? There's a quote at the beginning of your book that has quite literally taken my breath away. And I've written it down, I've shared it on my Instagram, put it everywhere. It's the Mark Twain one. Um,
Mhm.
a lot of terrible things have happened to me in my life. Oh, no, this isn't it. I'm butchering it. Wait, I've got it here. I've got it here. Why would I not just read it directly? But when I read it, I was like, fucking hell. I've lived through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened. I felt seen. I felt heard. I could not. That for me sums up everything. Everything.
Mhm.
And it's just like, wow, we're creating these things in our heads. Not to say there isn't hardship, not to say people haven't done you wrong, but it's never as bad as what you are making out in your mind.
Mhm.
Um, there is a couple of chapters in your book that I'm
Mhm.
obsessed with. And I
Okay.
feel like together they could absolutely transform your relationships. And I'm personally angry that I've only just learned about them at the age of 39. One of them was communication without confusion.
Mm.
And this one, it sounds so simple, but you're telling a story about when you go to meet a friend for you, what you think is going to be a night out. And you
Yes.
get there, you have one drink, and she's like, bitch, I'm off. And you were like, what? And then you found out that in New York, that's what you do. You see 3 or 4 different people in a night. That's
Mhm.
the culture. You didn't know.
Mhm.
And how important it is to be really clear with people
Mhm.
what your intentions are. And as simple as that, I can't wait to meet you tomorrow night. By the way, I can only stay 2 hours. I've got dinner after.
Mhm.
So fucking simple. I can't believe we're even talking about it. But it could literally save friendships. I had friends who I was friends with since I was a child, and we had a Christmas like night out every year.
Mhm.
And I traveled 7 hours one year because it was like a 7 hour round trip. I had to stay for the weekend. I had to get my daughter looked after. I had to stay at my friend's house. It was a whole thing.
Mhm.
They went home after an hour and a half. And I was absolutely fuming. And we're no longer friends. And
Oh.
I wonder if at the time I'd had the courage to say, do you know what? I did have my daughter looked after all weekend. I did travel a 7 hour round trip. I did stay at my friend's overnight. I did get a taxi where I could have been killed because there was no Ubers in this part of town.
Mm.
And you stayed an hour and a half. If in the future, like, I'm just not going to travel that distance, like if I had just said that, if I communicated it and said, it's nothing against you, I'm just not going to travel 7 hours to see you for an hour and a half, they might
Mhm.
have been like, oh shit, so, do you know what? I didn't even think about it. I've got so many things going on. And yet instead, I was just like, bye. Bye. I'm
Mm.
not doing that. So yeah, can you just tell us more about that? Like the importance of just communication, whether that's in relationships, friendships, whatever. Work.
It's communication. I mean, in your situation, I'd feel the same, right? I've put all this effort in, I've organized my life for this event, and then no one's taking it seriously, and I've really put myself out, right? Like that, to me, I'm like, oh, I feel it. When you're saying it, like, oh. And when perhaps if we were to speak to any of the other people involved, they would have just a completely different, they might be completely shocked that you're upset, right? It's,
Yeah.
and in the simple story that I share in the book, yeah, I was meeting a friend. I thought we were having a night out, like you said, and she left. And I mean, I didn't even eat anything. I was like, so with communication, I think, you use the word courage. If I had the courage to kind of say how I felt or, your take of the situation, um, I think we're so afraid to upset people, or we're so afraid to even state our own boundaries, or we're so nervous to just communicate our feelings, thinking they're wrong or we should be ashamed of them. And I think we lose a real opportunity here, not only for more ease, more better organization, like the practical elements of life, but I think we lose connection too because
Yeah.
we're not able to say, hey, I was expecting something a little different, or hey, these get-togethers that we have, the way that I feel. What matters most to me is like quality time together, and that's a whole weekend. Are you able to do that right now? Maybe you don't have the capacity. And so, if you ever known someone, if you've ever been around someone who's a good communicator, who does state their needs, who isn't wishy washy, who's politely communicating their preferences, then we feel very safe with that person because we know where we stand. We're not
Yeah.
kind of guessing. And then also, we have the courage to be the same, right? When we see someone demonstrating it. So if someone says, "This is how I'd like it to go. This is my kind of vision for something. This is my preferences," and then you open that for feedback. It's a very generous thing to do. Because I think sometimes we go through life, we don't know how people feel. We don't know why someone's upset. Are they upset? Are they just tired? Did I say the wrong thing? Did I do the wrong thing? When you have the ability to communicate, and it can be uncomfortable sometimes.
Oh, sometimes I'd say every fucking time. Every time, Susie, every time.
But like, what could be a situation in your life where you could communicate something now? I mean, it's the reason we don't do it is we think we're doing something bad, or we think that what we're doing, is going to hurt somebody. So if you think, if anyone's thinking, gosh, there's something I want to communicate, if you question, because maybe even in that situation, Fran, the people who you're no longer friends with are like really bummed about that. Like the loss is so much bigger than maybe an uncomfortable 5-minute phone call where someone's like, shit, you're right. No one's thinking about your 7 hours unless you tell them. No one's thinking about, like, I'm a woman without kids, and my friends with kids, I always forget they have to they need babysitters. I forget there's that whole other expense, element, organization. And when they remind me, if they ever remind me, if they say, can we meet earlier? Or, I'm so happy because in my mind, I'm thinking about many, many other things. So
Yeah.
communication is loving. Like it's loving. I know it takes some courage, but it creates great connection. And then you're kind of not making these wild assumptions, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
this
right.
person's just rude. Oh, this person. It's like, I don't know. People are thinking about so many other things apart from us and what it is that we need. And being assertive is generous. And it shows other people too how it's done. And it's very permission giving when we do it.
And it's growth as well. I can imagine
Hmm.
that every time you do it, you literally feel like you've gone to the gym for 5 hours and done whatever people do in a gym. I don't know. But I can imagine it's that same feeling of like, do you know what? As we're talking about this, I can
Hmm.
remember, oh my God, I'm 39. So I'm talking 20 years ago. One of my oldest friends, Sophia, and I, we've been friends since we were four, first day of school. We were emailing each other, and we grew up in a dynamic of like a group of six friends that all went to school together and grew up. And I think that sometimes when you make friends in school, sometimes those dynamics can kind of stay and in the way that they
Yes.
don't with people you meet after.
Yes.
And also, I think we grew up in such toxic times, like
Mm.
Mean Girls, all the TV shows, and my daughter now watches them, and it's all about girls being bitchy. It's just such a toxic
Mm.
environment we all grew up in. I don't blame us. I think it's the environment. And I
Mhm.
remember, and I still remember it to this day, and it's 20 years later, we decided to have honesty hour. And we said in this next hour, in these emails, we are going to say exactly how we feel. And it was so refreshing. We got everything out on the table, and we are still best friends to this day. And I remember those emails because it's such a standout moment of being honest with a friend. That's how rare it is. And I think we do need
Mm.
to be retrained. We need to. I was saying to someone earlier, I was like, I feel like you're my sister giving me like life advice that my mum didn't teach me this shit. My
Mm.
older sister didn't teach me this shit. The only thing my sister ever said to me was, when you have sex with a guy, put a finger up his bum. He really likes it. I didn't need that advice. I didn't need it. It's
What
not
cool
once
sister?
coming useful. Oh yeah, she was wild. But she never told me this stuff. And I think one of the
Mm.
chapters in this book, look, I sound like such a fangirl now, but I'm loving this book. But one of the chapters is called You Didn't Know. And it's
Yeah.
okay to go through life and look back and be like, I actually acted a bit like a dick. Like maybe I was the toxic person, but
Oh
actually
yeah.
it's okay because I didn't know. No one taught
Hmm.
me. I didn't know.
Hmm. So this is also part of just letting us, like, giving ourselves a bit of credit, like letting ourselves off the hook a little bit, right? We're so quick to, and even if you look back at life situations, oh, I wish I spoke up. Oh, you didn't know, right? But now you can look back from your experiences and go, does that feel good for me? Does that feel integrity if I act that way now, right? Sometimes we actually really, we're not capable of certain things until life experience, doing the work, which is what this podcast is all about, which is so cool. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, Fran, when we look back, the honest conversations that we have, what we realize later in life. This is why I think it's our obligation to share what we know. The way that you're even there at 5 a.m. with someone in the club, going, hey, I've learned these things that you should. I think that this is why for me this work is so fun. You don't have to be perfect to do it. You don't have to be. You don't have to have this flawless great life, but if you just know a few things that can make someone else's life a bit easier, isn't it? Ram Dass, like, we're all just walking each other home. I mean, isn't that we're all here at Earth School? No one's getting out alive. I mean,
Yeah.
when it comes to how I just even see the world, and I just see even like I don't want to say the average person because no one's average, but if you look around, look at a subway car in New York, walk down the street, people are really stressed out.
Oh,
They think
yeah.
the world's coming to an end. They're worried about everything. And then I think, hey, maybe there are just a few things that you can know about how your mind works, and that you can know about how no matter what's happening on the outside, you can still generate certain emotions that allow so much more to be easy in your life. And
Mm.
these shifts in perspective, I could talk about them for hours. Like, I love this work so much. Do you feel that way? Aren't you like, oh my gosh, my job, my work?
I love it. And I love it because I think it's much less than people think it is. Like, I think sometimes people
Mm,
think to change their life, they need to go on a retreat to Bali for 3 weeks and like
mm.
put a pipe up their bum. And what do you do? Like a colonic, like they need to do all that shit. And actually,
Yeah.
or like people are looking for the quick fixes like Cambo. Let me put frog poison in and vomit for 3 days and I'll hallucinate
Mm,
and see my future. I
yeah.
think sometimes that, honestly, that one chapter about communication, I can think back over the last few years, a couple of relationships that could have absolutely saved. And you're telling me
Yep.
that wouldn't change your life. I always say to the book club bitches, like, in any one book, if you took one lesson and genuinely applied it to your life, that would change your life. Absolutely. And I think with that
Mhm.
one, that's probably my favorite one so far. I want to know, what is there's what, 148 chapters in this book?
Yes,
What's
yes,
your
yes.
favorite? What do you think is the most powerful, or your few favorite ones that you think can change people's lives? Not to put you on the
Oh,
spot.
uh, there's one, there's a chapter in there about desire, which I
Right.
think is powerful because desire to me is life force, right? When you desire something. And I tell the story about how I came across this woman and she didn't have kind of like a formal, like kind of formal qualifications for the kind of work she wanted to do. Uh, but I just knew she was going to make it. Like, I just knew it because her desire was so clear. Her self concept was one of possibility. And she was just in it. Like, her commitment was there. It's like commitment over everything, right? When we don't resist our desires, we just become this magical force. I mean, when I see a person who has a desire, who's not questioning that desire, right? There's no blocks thrown up and they're forging ahead. I'm like, oh, get out of their way. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I think that when we look at people, we try and assess, like, oh, why is she successful? Why is he successful? Was it a connection? Was it their good looks? Was it, it's like desire is so powerful. And when we don't resist it, right? When we don't throw up a million reasons why we can't, why that's not available, then oh gosh, we tap into something. I think we all know it. And if you ever read biographies, which I love to do, you'll see that maybe someone didn't come from much, or they even had things that should set them back, like maybe learning difficulties or even health problems. And their desire is so strong, it just makes everything else muted. And so I think
Yeah.
that the power of desire and tapping into it allows a lot to be easy.
Do you
When,
know what?
yeah.
Yes, if you've got a desire to do something, and I
Hmm.
think sometimes disadvantaged circumstances can only fire that desire even
Yes.
more. Like to
Yes.
not come. Do you know what? I used to have sex with a lot of footballers, and what I loved about it was they were pretty much always like poor, disadvantaged kids from like the local council estate, but then they were like now the highest paid footballers in the world. And I loved that for them. I loved that vibe. I was hoping it was going to rub off on me. Maybe it did. Who knows? Literally. Um, but I loved that. I was always so interested in footballers for that reason, to be like,
Mhm,
how did you make it through all those odds? And
mhm,
that's one thing actually I was going to ask you. You know, we were talking about like not like looking at things through a lens of love and not
mhm,
getting riled up about people that apparently do us wrong.
mhm,
Something that I find very effective in my life, and it's only now I'm trying to really like not do it,
mhm,
is I will use negative situations in my life
mm.
to be like, I'm going to fucking show you. I'm going to show you what I can do. And I find it such a motivator, such a drive. And I
Mm,
think I'm trying now to not do that,
mm.
but I'm also much less motivated. So what would you say
So
to anyone like that?
do you mean that like maybe someone who didn't believe in you, you're like, I'll show them, and that gives you uh, energy, you mean, and now you don't want to feel that way anymore. Is that
Yes.
right? Or is there
Yeah,
something?
kind of like people that have tried to destroy you and sort of say
Oh
things
yeah.
like you're never going to be anything. You're always going to be like, and you're just like, right, okay, do you know what? Watch me
Uh,
while I do it. I'm going to take
right.
pictures. I'm going to
Right, right,
document it.
right.
Watch me. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
but
yes.
it's
Okay.
very successful. It really works. So like, I
Right.
wonder.
Okay, so I wonder if so sometimes the negative emotion we have can be positive in a way because it gives us like this fuel, right? Anger gives you energy. Like think about what
Yeah,
an angry person, think about what an angry child can do. They can take down the house, right?
yeah.
So, but I wonder, I don't know. I just think you would have succeeded no matter. Like they actually, you didn't need that. Like I think it's wonderful to take a positive out of something that can bring that causes suffering, right? To almost get a gain out of it. But I don't know. Your desire is palpable to me, and I think that when we do things with this clean feeling of just like, what do I want? What's the good thing here? What's my hunch? What's my creative? Uh, we can sometimes attribute like or credit things outside of us for actually what's just inside of us. Like it's who
You're
you
actually
are.
100% right, Susie. You are. Now I sit here and I think about it. I'm like, actually, I don't care about proving anything to them anymore. Like, I've flexed on these hoes. They can see what's happening. There's nothing left to prove. Do you know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
I still have the drive and determination to share the law of attraction and mindset work with as many people as possible. So maybe, and
Mhm.
when I say maybe, not maybe, 100%, you're right. Maybe we don't need to rely on that. I take it all
Mm.
back. I take it all back.
But
Honestly,
it's
you're the
also
gift that keeps on giving.
but it's also satisfying sometimes to look back and go, do you know what? I did the things that there was some doubt, but that's a
Oh,
satisfying thought too. But hey, wherever you're going, it's got nothing to do with anybody else. Your journey's going to be awesome. Like
I I
it's
love that. Do you know Cardi B energy is what I have a lot of the time where
uh,
she's like, I'm gonna show you. You thought I was just a stripper. I wasn't a stripper, but I'm gonna like, and I do love that energy, but I try and keep it in its little box and not overtake my life, if you know what I'm saying. What else did I want to talk to you about? Oh, so you've written another book called
yes,
Stop Checking Your Likes. We
yes.
are in a world at the moment which is amazing. I think it's incredible that we
Mhm.
can earn money from our phone at home without joining an MLM. What a
Mhm.
vibe for us. We can do that. The gatekeepers are gone. You can create a
Yeah,
podcast without getting an agent. You can write a book without having a publisher. What a time to be alive. But at the
yeah.
same time, I'm imagining that it brings a lot of unnecessary stress into our lives. Can you tell us a bit more about that book and what we're doing wrong?
Yes. Well, you know what's so interesting? I mean, like you said, I agree with you. The internet is an amazing place. What an incredible time to be alive, right? It has never been easier in history to, I mean, our ancestors would collapse if they saw our lives today, like what we can do with like one device in our home. And so we have all this access, all these conveniences, which we can revel in and enjoy. But of course, there's a shadow to everything, where our attention's
Mm,
going, what we feel we're getting sucked into. I think that when it comes to social media, it's fun, right? It's free. It's a great way to make money if you have a business too. But we really, and I know it's been said 1,000 times, but it really just needs a good dose of perspective, right? It's like
mm,
the way that I liken, say, I'm following people online and they seem to be doing all these great things. And look, now we're seeing like teenagers are more depressed than ever, more anxious than ever. I mean, it's the best and worst time based on like what you're paying attention to. But when you think about, what you're paying attention to on social media, it's a bit like to me watching a scary movie, right? You know it's not real. You know the monster isn't real. You know that murder isn't in your house, but it can still like ignite all of those like emotions. It just still generates all this stuff within you. So I think, my friends, we have to use our brains for this. We have to realize you're seeing 5% of reality. You have to also, you said this on a recent podcast I was listening yesterday, have a break. Right? Allow
mm.
yourself to dream. Allow yourself to have a bit of space in your life, and know that when it comes to social media, it has zero control over you. Right? You decide. Nothing can bother you. Number one, if you don't see it. Number two, we're choosing what we're doing with our time every moment of every day. Right? It's not this involuntary thing. It can be a habit, but habits can be changed. So I think when you look at what's in your life, and if social media is a struggle for you, then know that the good news is you get to like check with the boss on that one. Like, oh, oh, who's in control? Who's managing my access? Who's following what? I only follow things that I really, really love. Like, I don't even follow people that I know sometimes. I'm just
Oh,
thinking,
their shit's boring. People you know, the worst. I'm not interested in your shit. I don't wanna watch it. I wanna watch Cottagecore.
I love cottagecore. But when
So
you
do
think
I.
about, but don't we lose our imagination and our creativity a bit when we're just always looking outside, thinking approvals out there, thinking likes, thinking engagement? I think if you look at history and the coolest creators, in my opinion, they just spent so much time alone. They didn't require the approval or the votes of others. They were self-directed, doing like trusting their own intuition, trusting their hunches, moving forward in ways that were meaningful to them. And I think that really that's what Stop Checking Your Likes is about. It's about living a self-directed life versus the opposite, which is the easiest and hardest thing to do, because the world will have us just surrounded by influences, but we can be rebels, right? We can still do it our way and choose what it is that we care about and what we focus on.
100%. I think there's a chapter in this book, isn't there, called "The Grass Isn't
Mm.
Greener, It's Fake." And it's like what you're seeing on social media isn't necessarily fake, but it's the lens that we're viewing it through is distorted, and people are only posting their highlights and people are only showing
Mhm.
what's great. They're not saying, "Oh, I had a massive argument with my husband this morning and
Right.
I'm so insecure today. I'm so depressed today." They're
Mhm.
just posting the good shit. And when you're comparing that to your own life, of course, you're always going to come up short. Do you know what? When I got invited to the BAFTAs, of course, I created loads of content.
Yeah.
I looked great. I felt great about my hair. I was loving my life that day. But
Yeah.
so many people messaged me saying, "Oh my God, that must have been absolutely amazing. You're smashing it. I can't believe you're doing it." The reality was, it was not very enjoyable. The whole thing was, I was wearing Skims for the first time in my life, and I felt like my bladder was like in my throat. It was not a good time for me. It's very stressful being on high alert all day around people that are always kind of looking over your shoulder to see who else is there. It's very stressful. And I went home and I went pole dancing that night with my friend
Oh.
Jess, my first pole dancing class. And let me tell you, that was 100 times more enjoyable than
Mm.
the thing that looked great on social media. And so Yeah, it's just all bullshit, isn't it? We really need to, like, just turn it off. We don't need it. We just don't need it.
Well, I think, it's so wonderful to have all these tools, but it's like the role they play is up to you, and you just have to remember what's real and what's not. And your pole dance with your pal, I mean, and then, yeah, look, I like to wear high heels and dress up and go out to things too, but I also know what's real about that. And so
Yeah.
do whatever the hell you want. Do you know what I mean? Like that, live it your way. That,
Speaking of doing what you want, have you ever tried pole dancing?
yes, in
Have
Sydney,
you?
yeah, it's hard. Respect
So
that
hard.
it looks so impressive, and that's because it's hard.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Do you know what? We did a book in the book club called The Power of Fun. And it
Oh,
sounds really unfun, but we dissected what fun means for you. And so for me, it was
mm.
like physically moving, doing something with other people. This now sounds like just sex, basically. Um, Recording it, like documentation. For me, like
Wow.
if I don't document the progress and see the progress, I don't find it as enjoyable. So
Mhm.
like we found all these different aspects. And then I was just scrolling through Instagram as we all do. And I saw this school mum that I know and she's fucking like upside down. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to do it. And do you know what? It is the most fun. It is the most high vibe thing I've done
Wow.
in a long time. I'm just trying to convert everyone into doing pole dancing
Yes.
because I love it. I love it so much.
Oh, and happiness is also progress. So when you actually observe progress, like if you're learning a language, right, or if you're mastering your pole dancing skills, when you actually see it too, it's very, very, very encouraging.
Oh, it is. And to see
Mhm.
your strength grow and especially if
Yes.
that's in alignment with your goals. Like my goal for this year is health is wealth. So like for me to
Mhm.
finally be doing exercise because I was the most sedentary bitch you've ever met in your life. Like I didn't do any exercise. So now to actually be doing something and see myself getting stronger.
Oh,
Oh, I
and also,
love it.
Fran, doesn't it spill into other areas of your life too? Don't you think it makes you like a more happy mom or a funnier friend? I mean, I find that when one good thing happens in one area, it's not isolated,
Well, do you
right?
know what? This has actually reminded me of another chapter in your book called Fill Your Plate. Can you
Yes,
tell us about that?
yes,
Because I'm obsessed with it.
yes. You know how if there's something in your life you don't want, like whatever it is, it's really easy to um, like focus on it a lot, and to think or on the absence. Say you're single and you're like, I really don't want to be single. It can feel like this big brain space, this matter that takes up just a lot of time, a lot of energy in your brain. So the way that I like to think about it, because we live in this inclusive universe, right? Even if we think about something that we don't want, we're still putting attention on something unwanted. Just crowd it out, baby. Right? Like fill your life with other things. So if you think about it like a plate at a buffet, if there's like a big pork chop on your plate that you don't like, aka something in your life you're not happy with, and that's all you're looking at, it's going to feel like, oh. But if you go get some veg, get some this, get some dessert, get some potatoes, like the thing that's bothering you or the thing that you don't want, it just naturally just takes up less space. And what a fun way to fill your life too with things that you want. Like, when was
What a
the last
vibe.
time you even asked yourself, like, what do I want? Like, I want to go to Iceland. Oh, I want to learn French. Oh, I want to figure out how to make pizza at home. Like, when did we disconnect from this gorgeous creative part of us that wants to do things and enjoy things and be a beginner? Like, human beings are wired for novelty, right? This pole dancing class, I'm sure it brings you way like joy way beyond your, oh yeah, I feel fitter now. You have a laugh with your friends. I'm sure it brings you much more than that, and maybe it opens up other channels for you. To you're thinking, what else can I do?
Oh, 100%. I'm already looking at doing those weird aerial hoop things. But also,
Oh, yeah.
I did stand on my head against the pole one night and I did put it
Oh.
on my Tinder profile. And my old dick appointment, who I've not spoken to for a year, commented on it and was like, here she is. And I was like, yeah, I fucking am. How do you feel about this? Standing on my head. She's upgraded. Yeah, it is. I think the thing I loved about that chapter was the idea
Mhm,
of we all can have things in our lives we hate. We can maybe be at a 9 to 5 job that we're like, oh God, like you just, for whatever reason, I know we all have free will, but maybe for
mhm.
whatever reason, you feel like you can't leave it at that point in time.
Yep.
Rather, or you're in a relationship where, look, I was married for way longer than I needed to be. And
Mhm,
that was me keeping me there, but I felt imprisoned. And I think rather than focusing on that thing that you can't change or you don't feel able to change right now,
mhm.
instead, filling your life with as many incredible, diverse ingredients, like pole dancing, like a book club, like,
Yes.
you know, a side hustle that you love doing, you
Hmm.
then, like you say, you do start to crowd out whatever was wrong in your life until it just goes. It just disappears. Do you know what I spoke to? Do you know Paul Brunson, like the love expert
I
guy?
don't think so. No, I don't think so.
He's American, but he's like huge here in England. I did a podcast with him and he was saying it's like basically the same kind of thing, social capital, that when you go on a date, rather than saying, hi, I really like travel and shopping like every other fucker in the world, imagine going on that date and being like, do you know what? Me and my daughters go horse riding every Saturday morning and I do pole dancing with my friend Jess every Monday. And actually, I've
Hmm.
got this career that I love. I'm a podcaster and I love it and I travel all over the world with it. And once a year, I go to America with my friends. And like you've got, it's social capital. You've got a lot of shit going on. You've got a lot to talk about. What a vibe.
Yeah, it's attractive. I mean, we're attracted to people who are doers, who are experiencing things. We want to be around them. So, yeah, I love it. And isn't it such a delicious question? Like, what can I fill my life with? It doesn't have to be expensive things, right? It doesn't have to be things that are like, I need 2 weeks off. It's like, it's sushi with the girls every Wednesday. It's like movie night with the kids, blah, 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 where you watch a different art film noir. I don't know, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, life really is this candy store. And I
Yeah.
think that we just get so stuck thinking, oh, well, this is it. Like, this is, this is my routine. I don't know. Like, what if there's so much more freedom in any town? Even when we go on vacations to like small little villages and stuff, there's so much to explore. I tell you, like, if you open your eyes when you're conscious, I don't know. I think the world it could like make you weep with how gorgeous
Yeah.
it is.
Well, actually, that's why this chapter spoke to me so much. Because one thing I've been thinking recently is like, should I move back to London? Should I be living
Mm,
in the countryside? But I've come to the conclusion it definitely is the right thing for me as a single person with three very young daughters, being near family and being near support. And also
mhm.
having the support of like my house, like having the
Oh, yeah.
support of this home that gives me space for them to run around and stuff. Like 100% I need it. But instead of focusing on this whole thing all the time, being like, should I move to California? Should I move to London? Should I move?
Mm.
Like, rather than just thinking about that, I was like, I am going to crowd my life here with incredible experiences.
Mm.
And yeah, the pole dancing is local. You know, a lot of the
Oh,
things I do, it's all local stuff. And I absolutely fucking love it. This
yeah.
book has been such a joy. And I'm only a quarter of the way through it.
Wow.
Virtually every page I open, I'm like, God damn, she's done it again. So I'm just so thankful that you wrote it. If you want to come and join us in the book club, it is, well, we read a new book every month. It's called Let It Be Easy, but don't try and get this online because you ain't going to get it. We've sold it out everywhere. It's not going to happen. But yeah, if you want
We're
to come and join us, I'll leave the links down below. And where can people find you if they want to hear more from you, which of course they do?
well, as podcast listeners, I'd recommend checking out the Let It Be Easy podcast. I drop a 5-minute episode every single day. So,
Say
it,
what? A
yeah,
5 minute.
episode every. Well, experience shows us it's what we do consistently that shapes our lives, and so it's a great way to stay inspired and on track. And it's called Let It Be Easy, just the same as the book.
That is so funny because with the podcast, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a 5 to 10 minute episode every single morning at 6 a.m. for the whole of August. And I'm just picking my 30 favorite chapters from the book. So that's so wild that I didn't
Wow.
even know that you did. I'm listening to that podcast. I'm doing
Oh.
it. And
I'd
what
love to have you
about
on it. I'd love to have you on as my guest to speak about
for
the life
5 minutes?
lesson. No, that'll be an hour. You got to stick with me.
I'll only get 2.5 minutes in. What are we talking about?
Yeah,
I
thanks,
would
bye.
love to.
Yes.
And what else? Your website, Instagram, where can we find you?
I would just head to susie-moore.com, susie-moore.com. You'll see a lot of cool, free, fun resources there. So a great place to start.
Lovely. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for
Oh,
my flowers. That was lovely and
oh.
unexpected. I honestly, the disappointment when I thought it was from like a secret admirer, and then I was like, it's Tuesday. I loved it. I was happy, but I also really thought man had sent me flowers. How sad. There we go.
All love
Thank
is
you.
love. All love is love, you know?
This is true. I'd rather have this than some dusty man, to be honest. So there we go. Thank you for coming on. This has been a true
Oh,
joy. And yes, I'm sure we'll speak to you again soon. I feel like we have to have you come back for like maybe a social media special or something. I don't know. But
Oh,
yeah,
thank you, Fran. What a joy. Thank you for making Let It Be Easy the book club choice. Anything I can do for you, I'm here. Thank you.
thank you. And thank you for listening, guys. The law of attraction has changed my life. It's going to change yours too, bitch. Bye.